Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet these shell stitch trousers or leggings which can be made in any size. So for my trousers I used a 5mm crochet hook and worsted weight yarn. So thank you very much for watching and please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. So to begin your trousers you want to start off by making a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, take your yarn and take your finger and wrap the yarn around your finger once and then twice. Then take the first loop and pull it over the second loop, and then take the second loop and pull it all the way over your finger. You then want to take your crochet hook, go in through this space and pull tight, and there you have a slip knot. And now once you have your slip knot, we are now going to make our foundation chain, and you can make your foundation chain as long or as short as you like, but the length of your chain will depend on how big you want your trousers to be. So you want to make your chain long enough to go around the waist of the person who your trousers are for. So to go all the way around the waist. And your foundation chain must also be a multiple of 12. So you could chain 48, 36, 72, 120. It's completely up to you as long as it is a multiple of 12, and the bigger size you want to make, the more you will need to chain. So make your foundation chain. So I have just finished making my foundation chain of a multiple of 12, and I am making a baby size, so say 6 to 12 months, and I chained 72 with a 5mm hook. But like I said, you can chain whatever you like as long as it is a multiple of 12, and I feel that this is big enough to go around the baby's waist. And now what we're going to do, before we move on to round 1, we need to turn our foundation chain into a foundation ring. So to do that, you want to slowly go all the way down your foundation chain, making sure that there are no twists. So go all the way along to the very bottom and go to the first chain that you worked. And into this chain we're going to do a slip stitch. So go to this first chain, insert your hook into the chain and then work a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. And there we have turned our foundation chain into a foundation ring, and you want to go back and just double check that there are no twists in your chain, and if there aren't, we are ready to move on to round 1. So we are now on to round 1 of our trousers, and to begin this round you want to chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now round 1 is very simple. We are just going to do 1/2 double crochet into every single stitch around, or into every single chain. So start off by yarning over and go down into this very first chain here that our chain 1 comes out of. Yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So there we have 1/2 double crochet into that chain, and now yarn over and go into the next chain and do 1/2 double crochet into this chain, then yarn over and go into the next one and do the same thing into this chain, and just continue this all the way around, 1/2 double crochet into every single chain. So I have just finished working that all the way around for round 1, and at the end of this round you should have the same number of half double crochets around as you originally chained. So I chained 72, so I should have 72 half double crochets at the end of round 1, and I would recommend that you quickly go back and just double check that you have that right number. And then to finish off this round, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first half double crochet that we worked. So here is the first half double crochet. Make sure that you're not going into the little chain 1, as this did not count as a stitch. Make sure that you're going into the first half double crochet and insert your hook into this stitch and work a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So there we have finished round 1, and we are ready to move on to round 2. So to begin round 2, you want to chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now to start off, we're going to do 1 half double crochet down into this first stitch here. So yarn over, go down into the very first stitch and do 1 half double crochet. And now you want to chain 1 and skip the next stitch. So we're going to skip this next stitch here. And we're going to repeat that all the way around for round 2. We're going to do 1 half double crochet, then chain 1 and skip the next stitch. Then we're going to do another half double crochet, chain 1 and skip the next stitch, and just work that all the way around. So we have done half double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch. So now yarn over and go into the next stitch and do 1 half double crochet, then chain 1 and skip the next stitch. Then do a half double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch, half double crochet into the next, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and just continue that all the way around. So I have finished working that all the way around for round 3. So I have chained 1 and skipped this last stitch at the end. And then to finish off this round, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first half double crochet that we worked. So here is the first half double crochet. Insert your hook into this stitch and work a slip stitch. So there we have finished round 2, and this is going to be the little band where we can then weave some yarn or a string in and out of that to give the top of our trousers or our pants or leggings an elastic waistband. And now we are ready to move on to round 3. So to begin round 3, chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So round 3 is just another round of half double crochet. So you want to start off by yarning over and going down into this first stitch here and doing 1 half double crochet. And then you want to go into the next stitch. So this is the chain. So this is the chain 1. Go into that chain 1 and do a half double crochet. Then go into the next half double crochet here and do 1 half double crochet. Then go into the chain 1 and do a half double crochet into this stitch. Then go into the next half double crochet and do a half double crochet into that stitch, and just continue that all the way along. So we're just doing 1 half double crochet into each stitch around. So we're doing 1 into the stitch, 1 into the chain, 1 into the stitch, 1 into the chain, all the way around. So I have just finished working that all the way around for round 3, and at the end of this round you should have the same number of half double crochets around as you chained. So I chained 72 to start, so I should have 72 half double crochets at the end of this round, and I would recommend that you just go back and double check that you have that number. And then to finish off this round, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first half double crochet. So here's the first half double crochet and work a slip stitch into that stitch. So there we have finished round 3, and you can see that this is the very top of our trousers. So this is the waistband. So we will have a string which gets weaved in and out of these little holes, and that will give us our elastic waistband. And now we are ready to move on to round 4. So we are now on to round 4, and to begin this round you want to chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now in round 4 we are going to be starting our shell stitch. So you want to start off by going down into this very first stitch here and working a single crochet. So go down into this very first stitch that our chain 1 comes out of, yarn over and pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So there we have one single crochet into that stitch. And now we are going to skip 2 stitches. So skip 1 stitch and a second stitch. And then into the next stitch here, we're going to do 5 double crochets, and that is going to create our very first shell. So we have done a single crochet, skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to do a shell into the next stitch, and to do a shell we do 5 double crochets all into the same stitch. So yarn over and go down into this stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops on your hook. So there we have 1 double crochet into that stitch, and we need to do 4 more, or 5 in total. So yarn over, go back down into the same stitch and do a second double crochet, then do a third, a fourth, and finally a fifth. So we have 5 double crochets all into that stitch, and we have created our first shell. And now what we're going to do is we are going to skip 2 more stitches. So skip 1 stitch and then a second stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way around for round 4. You want to do a single crochet into 1 stitch, skip 2 stitches, then do a shell into the next stitch, then skip 2 more stitches. Then repeat that again, single crochet, skip 2 stitches, shell, skip 2 stitches, single crochet, skip 2 stitches, shell, skip 2 stitches, and repeat that all the way around. So we have done single crochet, skip 2, shell, skip 2. So now into this next stitch here, do 1 single crochet, then skip 2 stitches, and then into this one we're going to do a shell. And when we do a shell we do 5 double crochets all into the same stitch. So yarn over, go into this stitch and do 5 double crochets. Like that, And now we're going to skip 2 more stitches, 1 and 2, and then repeat that again. So I'm doing single crochet, skip 2, shell, like that, then skip 2, and just repeat that all the way around. I have finished working that all the way around for round 4. So I have done my last shell here and then skipped the last 2 stitches. And then to finish off this round, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet that we worked. So here is the very first single crochet, and go into this stitch and work a slip stitch. And there we have finished round 4, and we're ready to move on to round 5. So we are now on to round 5, and to begin this round, chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now to begin this round, we're going to go down into this very first stitch here. So this is a single crochet from last round, and we're going to work a shell. We're going to do 5 double crochets all down into this very first stitch. So yarn over and go down into this first stitch, this little single crochet, and do a shell. Do 5 double crochets. There's 3, 4, and 5. So there we have done a shell into that first stitch. And now we're going to move on to this shell from last round, and we're going to go to the middle of this shell and work a single crochet. So you want to go to the very middle, so that is the 3rd double crochet. So here we have 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and you want to go to the top of this 3rd double crochet and do a single crochet. So do a single crochet into the top of that shell from last round. And now we're going to move on to the next single crochet here. So the next single crochet from last round, so in between the shells. And into this little single crochet, we are going to do a shell. So 5 double crochets. So yarn over, skip on to the next single crochet and do a shell into this stitch. So like that. So there I have done 5 double crochets all into that stitch. And now we're going to move on to the next shell here from last round, and just like we just did, we're going to go to the 3rd double crochet and work 1 single crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, go into this stitch, so into the middle of the shell, and work a single crochet. And we're going to repeat that all the way around for round 5. It's the same thing as last round. We're doing single crochets and shells all the way around. But in this round, whenever we get to a single crochet, we are going to do a shell. And then whenever we get to a shell, we're going to go in the middle and do 1 single crochet. So you are working shells into single crochets from last round and single crochets into the top of the shells. So we have a single crochet here, so I'm going to do 5 double crochets into that stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, like that. And then moving on to the next shell, go to the 3rd double crochet of the shell, 1, 2, 3, and do a single crochet into the top of this stitch. And just repeat that all the way around. So I have finished working that all the way around for round 5, and you should finish off by working a single crochet into the top of the last shell. And then to finish off this round, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first double crochet that we worked. So here we have our first shell, and you want to go to the very first double crochet of the shell here, so the first double crochet that we worked, and work a slip stitch like that. So there we have finished round 5, and we are ready to move on to round 6. So to begin round 6, we need to get to the middle of this first shell here. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into the next double crochet. So this is the 2nd double crochet of the shell, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So we finished off last round with a slip stitch into the first double crochet. And now to start this round, you want to go into the 2nd double crochet and work another slip stitch. So you start off round 6 with a slip stitch into the next double crochet, and now you want to chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And now we're going to go into the next double crochet, and that is the 3rd double crochet, so the middle of the first shell, and we're going to do a single crochet. So go into the next stitch, the middle of this shell, and do a single crochet. And now we're going to move on to the next single crochet here. So the next single crochet from last round, and we're going to do a shell into this stitch. So yarn over, go into the stitch, and do 5 double crochets. So like that. So there I have done a shell into that stitch, and now we're going to move on to the next shell here and go to the 3rd double crochet and do 1 single crochet. Then move on to the next single crochet and do a shell into this stitch, and just continue this all the way around for round 6. It's the exact same thing as last round, it just starts differently. So we're doing single crochet shell all the way around, and just like last round, whenever we get to a single crochet, we do a shell, and whenever we get to a shell, we do a single crochet into the 3rd double crochet. So just do single crochet shell all the way around for round 6. So I'm going to go to the middle of the next shell and do a single crochet, then go to the next single crochet and do a shell, and just continue this for round 6. So it's the same thing as last round, it's just that it starts differently. So I have finished working that all the way around for round 6, And you should finish off by doing a shell into this last single crochet here. And then to finish off the round, you want to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet that you worked. So here is the first single crochet, go into that stitch and do a slip stitch like that. And there we have finished round 6 and we're ready to move on to the next round. So we are now on to round 7, and the next part of our trousers is very simple. You just want to repeat rounds 5 and 6, so the last 2 rounds that we just did, again and again and again, until you reach where you want to start the legs. So we have just finished off round 6, so now you want to do round 5 again, then do round 6, then round 5 and round 6 as many times as you like until you reach where you want the legs to start. So you can do as many repeats as you like, and the bigger size you are doing, the more repeats you may want to do, and the more high waist you want your trousers to be, the more repeats you may want to do. And if you are doing your trousers for a baby or a toddler, then I would recommend doing 2 to 3 repeats. So you would do round 5, then round 6, then round 5, then round 6. But you can do as many rounds as you like, and you can go back in the video and re-watch those rounds as many times as you need to. So they are very easy rounds, they are very similar, they just start in different ways. So for round 5 you chain 1, and the chain 1 never counts as a stitch. And then to start off round 5 you do a shell into the first single crochet. So round 5 starts with a shell, and then you just do single crochet, then shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, all the way around, and finish off with a slip stitch into the first double crochet that you worked. And then to begin round 6, you want to start off with a slip stitch into the next double crochet, then chain 1, and then do a single crochet into the next stitch, then do a shell, and then do single crochet shell, single crochet shell, all the way around for round 6, finishing off with a slip stitch. So they are the same thing, it's just that round 5 starts off with a shell and round 6 starts off with a slip stitch and then a single crochet. So just keep repeating rounds 5 and 6 until you reach where you want the legs to start. So I have finished working those repeats, and I ended up doing 2 repeats of those rounds. So you can see I have round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. So I'm coming to the end of round 6. So you need to make sure that you finish on a 6. So I'm going to finish off with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. And now I have reached where I want the legs of my trousers to start. So this is how high-waisted my trousers are going to be. So now we are going to move on and add the legs. So we are now on to round 1 of our legs. And when we do our trouser legs, we do the left leg first. So we're going to do the left leg, completely finish it, and then we are going to move on and work the right leg. So to begin the legs, you want to start off by counting how many sets you have around. So how many shells do you have around? So I'm going to count mine. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So I have 12 shells, and you should find that you have an even number. and you want to take that number, so the number of shells or the number of sets you have around, and divide it by 2. So I have 12, so I'm going to divide it by 2 to get 6, but you may have 14, 18, 20, 24, 30. It all depends on how long your foundation chain was. So take the number of shells that you have around and divide that number by 2, and you might want to make a little note of that number, or you may be able to remember it. And what we're going to do to start off round 1 of the trousers, we are just going to do a repeat of round 5. So like we have done before, we're going to do shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet, but stop halfway around. So I know I have to stop when I get to 6 shells around. So that's the number of shells that I have around divided by 2. But for you, that might be 10 shells around, it might be 12. It's the total number that you have around divided by 2. You want to just repeat round 5 until you are halfway around. So to begin this round, chain 1, and this does not count as a stitch. And now do a shell down into this first stitch. Like that. So there I have my first shell, and now I'm going to go into this next shell here in the middle and do a single crochet. So there we have shell, single crochet, and just keep repeating that until you are halfway around. So for me, I have 12 sets all the way around, or 12 shells, and I'm just going to keep repeating shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet until I have 6 sets. So 6 sets of shell and then single crochet. So I have just finished working that, and I have reached the halfway point. So I have 6 sets around, so 6 sets of shell, single crochet, but you may have 10 sets, 12, 14, 18, depending on how long your chain was. And you need to make sure that you finish off with a single crochet. So make sure that you do that single crochet there. So here we have worked halfway around, and that is round 1 of our left leg done. So now we just need to finish off with a slip stitch. So take your work like this. We've just finished off on the front with a single crochet, and you want to go to the back, and this can be a little bit fiddly. So go to the back where we started the round with the shell here, and we're going to do a slip stitch into the first double crochet of the round. So here is the first double crochet, come around like this, go into that first double crochet, and like I said, this can be a little bit fiddly. So go into that double crochet there, so into the first double crochet of the round, and work a slip stitch. And there you can see we have finished round 1 of our left leg. So this is what it looks like. And then once we have done this leg, we will do the same thing or a similar thing to create the right one. So now we're ready to move on to round 2 of the left leg. So we are now on to round 2 of this leg, and round 2 is the same thing as round 6. So what we were doing all the way up here. So we're going to start off this round with a slip stitch into the next double crochet, and that will take us to the middle of the first shell. And now chain 1 and do a single crochet into the next stitch. Then do a shell into the next single crochet here. So do a shell into this next single crochet. Like that. and then do a single crochet into this next shell, and then a shell into the next single crochet, and just continue to repeat that all the way around. So it's the same thing as round 6, what we were repeating up here, but just on a smaller scale. So we have half the length to go around. So I'm just coming to the end of this round, and you want to finish off by doing a shell into this last single crochet here. So don't forget to go into this last little single crochet at the end. So work a shell into that stitch. Like that. And then to finish off the round, we're going to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet. So go into this first single crochet of the round and do a slip stitch. So there we have finished round 2 of the leg, and we're ready to move on with round 3. So we are now on to round 3, and the rest of this left leg is very simple. We are just going to repeat the last 2 rounds that we just did, so rounds 1 and 2 of the leg, again and again and again until you feel that the leg is long enough. So rounds 1 and 2 are actually the same thing as rounds 5 and 6. So here we were repeating round 5 and 6 up here, and we are just doing the same thing for rounds 1 and 2 of the left leg, but just on a smaller scale. So you just want to keep repeating those 2 rounds, so rounds 1 or 2, or it's just the same thing as round 5 and 6, again and again and again. So for round 5 you start off by chaining 1, and then you do a shell to start off. So round 5 starts off with a shell, and then you just do single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell, single crochet all the way around, and finish off with a slip stitch. And then round 2 is the same thing as round 6. You start off with a slip stitch into the next double crochet. So you finish off round 5 with a slip stitch into the first double crochet, and you start round 6 with a slip stitch into the next one. Then chain 1, and then do single crochet, shell, single crochet, shell all the way around for round 2, which is the same thing as round 6. So just keep repeating those 2 rounds, rounds 1 and 2 or 5 and 6, again and again until you feel that your leg is long enough. And the longer you want your trousers to be, the more repeats you will need to do. So keep repeating those 2 rounds. So I have finished repeating those rounds, and I did 6 repeats in total. So 6 repeats of those 2 rounds, and I feel that my left leg is long enough. So now, if you like, you can finish off here. So you can just fasten off, so pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, and then move on to the right leg. But what I'm going to do is I am going to add a little cuff around the bottom of the leg. So I'm going to make it more legging-like. So it's going to kind of come in like this, just using half double crochet. So if you want to do a cuff, I will show you how to do that now. So to start off your cuff, chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And now we're going to do 4 half double crochets. So do 1 into the first stitch, 1 into the second, third, and fourth. So do 4 half double crochets, 1 into each stitch. And now we're going to do a stitch called 2 half double crochets together. So to do 2 half double crochets together, you yarn over and go down into 1 stitch and pull up a loop. But do not complete this half double crochet, leave it incomplete and move on to the next one. Yarn over, go down into the next stitch and pull up a loop, but do not complete this half double crochet either. So there we have 2 incomplete half double crochets, and you should have 5 loops on your hook, and you want to yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. And there we have done 2 half double crochets together, and we have turned 2 stitches into 1. So we have done 2 half double crochets but not completed either of them, and then completed them both together at the same time, turning 2 stitches into 1. And now for the rest of round 1 of our cuff, we're just going to repeat that all the way around. 4 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets together, 4 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets together, all the way around. So I'm going to do 4 half double crochets, 1 into each stitch. Like that. And then I'm going to do 2 half double crochets together. So yarn over, go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. So there we have done 4 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets together, and just continue this for round 1 of the cuff. So I have finished working that all the way around, and I have finished off by doing one last set of half double crochets together, and then to finish this round we're going to do a slip stitch into the first half double crochet that we worked. And there we have finished round 1, and we're ready to move on to round 2. So round 2 is very similar to round 1, but in this round we're going to do 3 half double crochets, then 2 half double crochets together, then 3 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets together, all the way around. So chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then do 3 half double crochets, like that, and then do 2 half double crochets together, and just repeat that all the way around. 3 half double crochets, 2 half double crochets together, all the way around. So I have finished working that all the way around, and I finished off with a last set of 2 half double crochets together, and then a slip stitch into the first half double crochet of the round. And now we're ready to move on to round 3. So round 3 is the final round of our cuff, and it is very simple. You want to chain 1, and then simply do 1 half double crochet into each stitch around. So go down into the first stitch and do a half double crochet, then do 1 into the next, and just continue that all the way around. So I have finished working those half double crochets all the way around, and then we're going to finish off with a slip stitch into the first one that we worked, so the first half double crochet of the round, and then you can fasten off. So pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, leaving a tail to weave in later. And there we have finished the cuff. And I have finished this left leg. So if you have a look at my trousers here, you can see that the left leg is finished. And now we have this cuff at the end, and it kind of comes in like this and makes it more legging-like. And now we can move on to the right leg. So we are now going to move on and work the right leg. And to begin this leg, you want to turn your work over to the back. So turn it over to the back like this. And we're going to start off by attaching our yarn into this stitch here. So this is a little single crochet. So here we have the last shell and then we have the single crochet before it. And you want to start off by inserting your hook into that single crochet. Then taking your new yarn, so I'm going with the same yarn as I used before, place it over the end of your hook, pull it through and then chain one. So chain one, and there we have attached our new yarn to our work, and we're ready to begin round one of the right leg. So round one of this leg is the same thing as round one of the left leg. We're just going to do the same thing as round 5 up here. We're going to start off by doing a shell down into this first single crochet. So start off by yarning over, going down into the single crochet and doing a shell. So that is 5 double crochets. Like that. So there we have our very first shell. And then we're going to move on to this next shell here, and we're going to go to the middle of it, so the 3rd double crochet, and do a single crochet. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work over to the front. So this can be a little bit fiddly. So we're going to turn our work over. And we're going to go to this single crochet here. So you can see that this shell has been worked into in the left leg. So we go to the next single crochet. So this is the first single crochet that has not already been worked into in the front. And into this single crochet, we're going to do a shell. So turn your work over to the front like this. And go to this first single crochet. So this is the very first single crochet. Yarn over, go down into this single crochet and kind of pull your work together and work 1 double crochet and try to make this double crochet nice and tight, and then just continue with the rest of your shell. So 5 double crochets. So like that. So there we have done shell, single crochet, shell, and we have brought our work over to the front. And you just want to continue doing this all the way around. So just continue with our pattern all the way around. So I have finished working that all the way around. So I have worked one last single crochet into this last shell here. And then to finish off the round, go down into the first double crochet that you worked and work a slip stitch. So this is the double crochet of the first shell. And there we have done round 1 of the right leg. So it's the exact same thing as round 1 of the left leg, which is the same thing as round 5. We start off with a shell and then just do our pattern all the way around, finishing with a single crochet. So it's the exact same thing as we have done before. The only difficult bit is that you have to go from the back to the front. And now we are ready to move on to round 2 of the leg. So we are now on to round 2 of this right leg, and round 2 is the exact same thing as the left leg, and that is the same thing as round 6, which we did up here. So just round 6 on a smaller scale. So we start off by doing a slip stitch into the next double crochet here. So start off with a slip stitch, then chain 1, and then do a single crochet into the top of that shell there, and then into this next single crochet here, we are going to do a shell. So this next little single crochet, which is kind of in the middle of the front and the back, go into this stitch and do a shell. just like that. And then we're going to go to this next shell here and do a single crochet into the middle of that shell. And we're now working along the front, so you might want to flip your work over like this to make it easier. And then we're just going to continue our pattern all the way around. We're doing single crochet shell, just like round 2 of the other leg, or just like round 6. So I have finished working that all the way around, and I have finished off by doing a shell. And now we're going to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round. So there we have finished round 2 of that leg, and we're ready to move on to the next round. So we are now on to round 3, and the rest of this right leg is very simple. We're just going to repeat those 2 rounds, rounds 1 and 2, again and again and again, until this leg is the exact same length as the other side. So we have just finished round 2, so now we'll do round 1 again. And round 1 is the same thing as round 5, but on a smaller scale. And then we're going to do round 2, and round 2 is the same thing as round 6 up here, but on a smaller scale. And just keep repeating those 2 rounds, keep repeating them until the leg is the same length as the left one. And then if you like, you can go ahead and add a cuff on the right leg in the exact same way as we did this one. So you can go back in the video and re-watch that cuff if you want to. And then once you have done that, we will have finished. So I have finished working that other leg. So I did the exact same number of repeats as the other one. And then I went ahead and added the same cuff on the bottom. So I did the cuff in the exact same way on this side as I did on the other side. And then I fastened off. And then once you have done that, you want to weave all of your ends into the inside of your trousers. So make sure that they are all weaved in nice and securely. And then you want to go ahead and take a string or a ribbon, or I just did a chain here, and weave it in and out of the loops at the top. And this gives us our nice elasticated waist. So then once you have done both legs, you have weaved all of your ends in and added a string at the top, you have finished. And now once you have done your trousers, you might find that you have a small hole here in the center, so a little hole, and the bigger size you are doing, the bigger the hole will probably be. But that is very easy to fix. You just want to take a yarn needle and a piece of yarn in the same color and just sew that up. So that happens whenever you make crochet trousers, but you just simply need to sew that up using a couple of stitches. It's very simple, and then you will have finished. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it easy to follow. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos, and in the description box below this video I will leave a link to my Twitter account, so if you would like to go and follow me on there, I always like to post updates and pictures of upcoming tutorials, and I would really love to see photos of your crochet work on Twitter as well. And in the description box, I will also leave a link to where you can find some of my written patterns if you are interested. And thank you again for watching. Bye!